Hi there. The holidays are here once again, and we all know what that means. It's time for... Yes, fruitcake.
Why does everyone give me fruitcake for Christmas? I hate fruitcake!
Pee-wee, I brought you a present.
It isn't a fruitcake, is it?
No. It's 2 fruitcakes.
Oh, well,
Every year, the fruitcake jokes fly fast and furious, and most of them are how disgusting and awful fruitcake can be. When people say they don't like fruitcake, the answer is always the same: this stuff. These so-called candied fruits, preserved in syrup, have given the classic fruitcake a reputation that makes people say how much they hate it even before they try eating fruitcake. But the reason why fruitcake is so despised is because many people have never had a delicious homemade fruitcake, one where you can add the ingredients you want. And that's why I'm proud of this recipe. Not only does it not use those horrid red and green cherry blobs seen in most fruitcakes, this recipe also does more to prepare a delicious cake batter that rises terrific. If you'll be kind enough to take part for the next several minutes, you'll see a fruitcake that you'll actually want to eat. This particular recipe also doesn't have any alcohol in the finished cake, so you can safely serve it to kids or take it to work.
What's important to remember is this is your cake, and you can use whatever fruits you like, so cater it to your own taste. I like using some fresh fruit along with the dried fruits in my cake, as this helps to pack as much flavor into it as possible. What makes a good fruit cake is, of course, the fruit, which is why you need to use the fruits that you like best. Classic recipes call for soaking the fruits in rum or wine, and you can do this if you want. But in addition to making this a family-friendly cake, I want to be sure you can taste the fruit in this cake without drowning it in liquor. We'll also be using a lot of spices to add flavor as well, so we want the taste of the fruit to stand out. I avoid using prunes in my fruitcake because we're already adding 2 cups of raisins, which is enough. However, I made sure to go out of my way to get some decent candied orange and lemon peel because that stuff sold at the supermarket is no better than gummy worms. Meanwhile, candied ginger is stronger and more tasty than powdered ginger, though powdered ginger will work just fine if you prefer. Likewise, I like using a freshly chopped apple because it's cheaper and easier to find than dried apples. Once the apples are chopped, we mix in a teaspoon of lemon juice to keep them from browning. Don't mix the apples in with the dried fruits yet, to keep them fresh. Now that the fruits are ready, we prepare the cake batter. Classic recipes don't give much of a batter, and they just mix in some flour and sugar to hold the fruits together. I prefer a more appealing cake batter, and this also helps the cake to rise. I've made this recipe without the fruit, and this still gives you a tasty spice cake. This will be a very thick and heavy batter, which is necessary to keep the fruit in place. We do add some spiced rum to give flavor to the batter, but the alcohol will evaporate when the cake bakes. This will make a cake that's safe to serve to your family. Adding milk and honey allows us to stir the batter more freely, though, as you can see, it's still very thick. Next come our spices, including cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, and cardamom. We already added crystallized ginger earlier, so all that's left to do now is add more citrus flavor by zesting a lemon and an orange. I love zesting, and whoever discovered zesting citrus was a genius. It adds pure citrus flavor to the batter and none of the bitterness of the peel. As you can see, this is still a very thick batter. And finally, it's time to add in all of our fruits and mix it all together. If you thought the batter was thick and hard to stir before now, you'll need to really make an effort to stir the batter once it's all mixed in. Furthermore, there's one additional ingredient to add: crushed pecans and crushed walnuts. It was a tradition for the entire family to take turns stirring the Christmas pudding, and that may be because the batter was so thick and hard to stir. The original Christmas plum pudding also included a tradition of hiding a silver coin in the pudding for one lucky person to find, and this is a good tradition to continue with a modern-day fruitcake. And at last, it's time for the fruitcake to go into the oven. I like using a homemade cake pan grease that simply has 2 tablespoons each of flour, canola oil, and shortening. This allows us to completely coat the cake pan and add our batter. This is so thick we can't pour the batter in and have to scoop it in with a ladle. We only need to fill the pan about 3/4 full. You'll be surprised how well this cake rises. A shallow cake pan should be completely baked in about an hour, while a deep pan, such as a bundt, may take an hour and a half. And when it's finished, we have this. We let the cake cool for about 20 minutes, and then it's time for the make or break moment. All that's left is one final step: preparing a honey glaze to top the cake. We simply heat a 1/2 cup of milk in a saucepan, add powdered sugar, a touch of ground ginger, and a 1/4 cup of honey. This adds a touch of extra sweetness to the citrus, and you shouldn't skip this step. The cake is fine on its own, but the glaze will really make it a cake to remember. Let the glaze cool to give the cake a finish, and we're ready to serve.
That's why this is a magical fruitcake. It's a fruitcake people will actually want to eat. This recipe was designed to be a fruitcake for people who say they don't like fruitcake. I hope you're curious enough to give this a try, and I especially hope you like it. If so, let us know how it turned out, and please post your comments down here. Whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or Eid al-Adha or Yule, solstice, or even secular retail holiday, enjoy it with some fruitcake, and good wishes and peace to all of you. Thank you for watching.